Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Find Your Winning Digital Product Idea Workshop. I am just setting up a little bit because kind of last minute I've had to do a little scrambling because something wasn't working. So if you so things might look a little weird for a sec, but I think I'm on track. I think I'm on top of it. Um, so hopefully that will be fine. If you can hear and see me okay, and you're tuning in, can you just, how about pop in the chat, say hello, let me know where you're tuning in from. I would love to hear where you're tuning in from and how you're doing and how you're feeling about the idea of starting with digital products. Where are you at in this process? Do you have an idea? Are you kind of like have several ideas and so on? While I'm trying to just pull up this other video here and make sure that I can just kind of like see what's going on and make sure that everything looks good and makes sense. Okay, not bad. Now, what's going to happen is, hello, Megan. Hello, Sunburst Soaps from Wisconsin. Thunderstorming with hail last night and snowing today. That sounds about right for, doesn't it, for this time of year? Um, Amazing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to full screen my main monitor. I have the chat down here in front of me, so you see me glancing down. That's what I'm doing. I'm checking the chat to see how everyone is doing, and I will be asking some questions through it where I would love your feedback. So kind of like a poll. So I'm going to be doing that. So I'm seeing some people saying they have several ideas. I see people say that they had an idea a few years ago, and you want to learn more about kind of finding smaller things and all of that. So awesome, amazing. Let's get started. It is going to be a pretty dense workshop. I hope you have your notebooks handy because we're going to be doing some actual work and brainstorming here. Yeah, let's have fun. It's going to be a good one. Right, let me grab my thing here and go full screen. Amazing. Great. If at any point in time the screen looks a little wonky or you can't hear me quite right, just give me a shout in the comments and we'll problem solve. But I think it's going to go well. I'm manifesting a smooth workshop, right? With all of the tech working. Okay, great. So, welcome to the workshop. Hoping this is going to be about 60 minutes, but there's no time cap on it. I haven't timed this. No idea how long it's going to take. We're going with the flow and we're going to have just a good time. All right. So, showing up this workshop, probably most of you are feeling a little bit like the gal on the left, not really sure if your idea is any good. Maybe you don't have an idea of what to create at all. Maybe you have a lot of ideas and you don't know which one is the best one. So by the end of this workshop, you should know exactly what your idea is going to be. You should have confidence knowing that it's going to sell and conviction and clarity that you're on the right track with it. That's the goal for this workshop. So this is me, and this is me thanks to digital products. Having lunch with my husband in the middle of the day, going to the beach with my kids all summer, and kind of being checked out of the office, going for walks with my dogs in the woods whenever I want, and so on. I have a lot of flexibility and freedom in my life thanks to digital products being such a huge part of my work. But it wasn't always like this. I used to be a pretty burnt out, stressed out working photographer, scrambling for clients all the time, working weekends, working evenings, editing into the long hours of the night. If you're a creative of any kind, you probably know what this feels like. And I had just really had enough of that when I was pregnant with my son. I wanted to be able to have more freedom. I was super tired. I needed something else. And so I created a course on product photography. That was my very first thing. And on my very first launch, I made $5,000 and it just exponentially increased from there. I'm actually going to show you later on what that looked like. So it wasn't always like that, but it's definitely like that now. And I just want you to kind of get a sense of what the journey can actually look like because it's pretty amazing. And I started exactly where you are, not really sure what to create, not really sure how to get started. And here I am all this time later. So here's what we're covering today. We're going to cover how to excavate the brilliant digital product that's already in your head. Yes, even if you're feeling totally lost and unsure right now, there is a great digital product inside your head, and we're going to excavate that. We're going to cover why a saturated market can actually be good news and how we're going to work it to your advantage. And we're going to talk about how to know your digital product is going to sell before you even spend a single hour working on it. Because I don't know about you, but I do not have time to work away on things for hours if they're not going to sell. I need to know up front if this is going to have a return on my time investment. And I'm sure you do too. Okay, so at the top of your notebook that you have handy, I want you to write at the top my digital product launch goal, and I want you to write down a number. You don't have to write down this formula that I wrote. This is kind of just an example of what you might write. So if you were to have your kind of dream launch for this first digital product, you put it out into the world and you have it open for like a week or two, or you're kind of doing a push for a week or two, what would your launch goal look like? Don't be conservative here. This is an opportunity to dream, and most of the time that launch goal can look a lot bigger than people think that it could be right off the bat, because you might be feeling things like, oh, but what if nobody buys? We're going to get to all that. But write down what you would love for that launch goal to be for your first launch, knowing that this is something that you can carry on forward and it can grow and month after month and so on. So just as an example here, if you have a digital product or like a bundle of things or whatever that's $150 and you sell 20, it's $3,000. So just write down what that might look like for you. Just take a second to think what your launch goal might be and write that down at the top of the page. We're going to refer to this back later, so keep it handy. So really quick poll, I'd love for you to write in the comments, where are you at right now with your digital product idea? So are you number one, no clue what to create? Number two, you have too many ideas and you can't pick one. Number three, you have an idea, but you're not sure that it's good enough. And number four, you know what you want to make, but you're kind of scared to start. You're not really sure. I'm going to keep an eye on those comments. I'm going to keep chatting because there's a bit of a delay between what I say and what you're going to see on the screen, but I would love for you to write in the comments kind of where you are in your ideation process. I'm seeing too many ideas. I'm seeing you have an idea, but it's not good enough. Um, Number one, no clue what to create, no clue what to create another one, idea-ish. I love these answers. Okay, and I see you have a lead magnet and an expanded ebook. That's great. And combinations of two, three, and four. There's a couple of those. So lots of ideas and scared. All right, great. So everyone is somewhere in this realm. You're in the right spot with this workshop. I hope at the end you're going to have a lot more clarity. So let's dive into part one of the workshop. You already have a wildly profitable digital product idea in you, and we're going to figure out what it is. Okay, so this may be you. Let's go through. So don't even know what to create. Not expert enough. This is something I hear people say. I don't know if I'm top of my field. I'm not really as experienced as so on. This person over here, I don't know if I'm an expert enough to teach something or to create something that someone could use or whatever. A lot of people feel like their audience is too small. It's not going to be worth it. They see people with these big audiences and I think that's what I need in order to sell a lot of digital products. And that is not true. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of how that's not true in the workshop. And who would actually pay for that? This is another one I get. People feel like people wouldn't pay for it. They think they can get this kind of stuff online for free, or they could go on YouTube for free and get this information. Why would somebody pay for it? That's another one that I have heard a lot and honestly have felt even myself in the past, so I get it. All right. Now, the good news is you don't have to be the top expert in your field. You don't have to have a massive audience. You don't have to have a groundbreaking idea, and you don't have to be a tech wizard. All good things. What you do need is you need to know something that can help someone in some fashion or another. And you need to be willing to package it and sell it. Honestly. Yeah. Not a lot of prerequisites for this, but we are going to talk about how you can take what you know or your expertise or your craft or whatever and package it into something that is really actually impactful and valuable for people. All right. Let's carry on. Now, I want to introduce you to Lisa because Lisa had a lot of these same feelings when she started working with me. She started working with me to launch a course in artificial wreath making. So Lisa creates beautiful faux wreaths and sells them, and she has for a while. They sell out every time. But when she started working with me, there was two things. She was terrified of the technology. She didn't even know how to turn the camera on her Zoom the first time we chatted. And she was worried about kind of how she would manage the technology of having an online course. And she also was really uncomfortable with the idea of calling herself a professional wreath maker, or kind of like taking that authority and being like, yes, I'm an expert in this field, because she was never formally trained. But she had been selling and selling out of her wreaths. I mean, as soon as things were for sale, people were buying them like crazy. They're incredible, for quite a few years. So we had a little mind work to do, but she overcame that feeling of not being an expert enough, totally tackled the technology with my support. I helped connect her with some things that were fairly user friendly to help her get started. And you know what? She set a modest launch goal of 5 sales. And I really wanted to talk about Lisa in the very beginning, because I don't know about you guys, but I often see people online talking about massive launches with hundreds of sales and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And sometimes I look at these people and I think that's great, but my reality might not be hundreds of thousands of dollars on a launch. That's not really for me. And I know that other people have said that to me before too. I don't necessarily want to have a massive launch. A lot of people come into this and they're like, you know what? I just want to get started with a handful of people. I want to get the feedback. I want to get my idea validated, and then I can go on to grow it in the future. Lisa had a goal of 5 sales, which was amazing. So I checked in with her on Instagram during her launch. She had sold 4. She'd gotten 2 amazing reviews, and the feedback was so positive. And by the end, she sold her 5. And she has been selling that program consistently ever since. Now, when I first launched, I only sold 13. I sold 13 on my very first launch. And it was such a huge deal for me. That was so much. So your launch goal does not have to be massive for it to still have an impact on your life. And it's also only the first launch. There's so much more to come after that. All right, let's carry on. Now, your digital product idea lives in this bubble in the middle of this Venn diagram. It has to be a topic that and when I say topic, it could be like a course topic. It could be, if you're creating digital assets. It could be if you're writing an ebook. It could be if you're writing a digital planner, whatever it is. It's something that you're passionate about, because it's something you're going to be talking about in your content and to your audience. So you want to have a passion for it that keeps rolling for a while. And it needs to include, of course, your skills and expertise. So you want to bring whatever those in. Again, you don't have to be the top in your field. You don't have to be the highest level of expert there is, but you will still bring so much value to your ideal customers who need to know what you know, or to need to benefit from your talent and craft or whatever. And your ideal customer's problem or desire. That one is what we're going to focus on the most, because that's a piece that often gets overlooked. People will come up with an idea and think, I love this and I'm good at it. And so they create it and then they sell it and it doesn't sell. And that's because they didn't take the time to make sure that what they were creating was really wanted and needed by their ideal customer. Sometimes it's just a matter of figuring out how to make it so that your ideal customers need it and want it. If it's a topic that you're passionate about and it's your skills and expertise and you really want to create something around it, there's an audience for you for that. You just need to make sure that you're creating it in a way that they're going to be excited about it and use the language that they're going to use, and so on. Now, the best digital product idea is one with a topic you won't grow tired of talking about, for a target audience that really wants and or needs it, and thus will gladly pay for it. So I had a business coach once who said to me, what is your ideal customer's glass of water? And I love that. And I use it still to this day, and I tell other people about it too. And basically, what that means is, if someone has a problem or they desperately want to do something or whatever, and when I say problem or desire, I'm talking a problem like they really struggle with meal planning for their family, and that's a really big pain point in their life. That's a problem. A desire might be someone who has, let's say, a busy mom who misses herself and her creativity so much that she really wants to learn how to do watercolor painting, and she wants that to be part of her kind of creative self-care process. That's a really big desire, and kind of also a need as well. So those are some ways that you can start thinking about needs and desires. But what the glass of water is they're in a real desperate situation. They're super thirsty. What is the thing they're going to see or hear about and be like, that's what I need right there? That is the answer to what I'm experiencing right now. And that is comes down to creating something that they really want or need and talking about it in a way that they really recognize that they want and or need it. That is so, so, so important. There's a couple of questions down in the comments. I'm just going to answer them really quickly and then we're going to carry on. So, Holistic Vet said, how about self-publishing? Amazon KDP pays so little. So yeah, Amazon KDP does not pay a whole lot, but they do have margins for ebooks that are something I think like 70, 75% gets paid out as opposed to a physical book. Physical books, you get paid very little, but you do make more with ebooks. That's going to be a matter of volume. That's going to be a matter of getting more people to it. And also keep in mind that when you're selling on Amazon, you do have the power of the Amazon search engine behind you, where there is some opportunity to have people trickling into your world through that means. So even if you do have something that is lower price, that does not mean that you can't be successful with it. It means that your strategy needs to include volume of eyes on your product and getting a lot of eyes on it. Also, next question. So there's no such thing as creating something people don't know that they need yet. So you can create something that people don't know that they need yet, but two things, you would want to include something in that that they do think that they need, like as either, a first, let's say it's an online course, maybe your introductory module or whatever. And when you talk about it, you want to use language of things that they already know that they need. Now, for example, people that I work with might think that they need more views on Instagram. And what I know they might need is that they might need to not be on Instagram anymore because Instagram just doesn't work for a lot of small businesses anymore. So I might create, so what I do is I create a lot of content around saying like, hey, you know what? You think you need more views on Instagram? What if you actually just let Instagram go? So a lot of it is in your content. You can teach around it to help people get to that awareness phase so that they know it's what they need to know. But if you're kind of like promoting this to people who are not familiar with they're new to your world, then it is a matter of using the kind of language and positioning of your product so that they are bought in as soon as they see it. So it's more about like framing it around something that they do believe that they need. And then you can say, by the way, this is the solution. So the analogy here is if you come across someone in the desert and they're dying for a glass of water and you walk up and you start talking to them about here's how you're going to prevent dehydration. This is how you're going to make sure this doesn't happen again. Meanwhile, they're just lying there being like, I just want a glass of water. I'll hear about it when I'm not so thirsty anymore. So you give them the glass of water and then they're like, okay, tell me about how I can not get in this situation again. So sometimes it's just a matter of leading with the glass of water and then you can talk to them about dehydration after that. I hope that that's helpful. Okay, so let's carry on. So let's say maybe you're sitting there thinking right now, I don't actually know what my ideal customers feel about this, or I don't know what their glass of water would be. You can go out and find that information. And even if you think you know, I would still recommend doing this step. It is super, super important because you might feel like you really know them. You might have a friend who's the perfect, ideal customer for you, and you know her point of view. You might even be your own ideal customer and you might know your own point of view, but that doesn't necessarily account for the full scope of what everyone in your audience might be experiencing. So you can go to your own community, like if you have followers on Instagram or on Threads, or if you have an email list, you can contact them and do a survey or ask a question and get them to respond to kind of get some information that way. You can search through Facebook groups of people who, related to your niche, that kind of audience. You don't even need to necessarily go in a Facebook group and ask. You can just go in and search related to it. Like if you want to create something for busy moms, you can go in and just type in the search field for whatever it is your kind of plan is for your product and then get all kinds of information about the kinds of questions people are asking, what the conversation is around it right now, what the pain points are, what's preventing them from getting the help and stuff like that. Same with subreddits. Subreddits are very, very helpful. I used subreddit quite a bit when I was planning out one of my photography courses, 1 hour perfect product photo lab. I went in to figure out, I wanted to cover every single pain point I could come up with that people were struggling with their product photography and address it in one single, like, kind of more or less bite-sized program, like bite-sized course. And I went to subreddit to do that. It was super helpful. You can ask your ideal customers. So if you do have friends who would be those people, or family members, or whatever, people who you chat with online, you can just straight up ask them, what would this look like? What is something, would this be helpful for you? And stuff like that. You can also search YouTube comments. So this is a really great place to get information. If you, there's YouTube content for pretty much everything out there. So if you were to go to a YouTube video that kind of covered your content area a little bit or that conversation a little bit, you can go into the comments and see what people are saying. So even if it's something like you're going to create like website templates, maybe you're not creating a course, you're going to create website templates for people. Maybe you go and you search YouTube for like DIY web design or shortcuts, like web design shortcuts for busy business owners or something like that. In the comments, you can find a lot of people saying different things about like what their experience and what they found online so far and how it did or didn't meet their needs. And you can get a lot of information for that to create something that's really helpful for people. Same with Pinterest search. You can search in the field of Pinterest and it will start to auto populate. YouTube will do this as well. And like you could put kind of like website templates, and then it will say a whole bunch of things under that that will help you. Like if I go to YouTube and I type product photography, then what I will start to see is product photography at home, product photography with an iPhone, product photography DIY, product photography for makers, and that kind of thing. So I can start to see, okay, these are things that people are actively searching that they actively want help with. They want to be using their iPhone. They want to know how they can do this in their home environment and stuff like that. So lots of information to be gleaned from these like different places online to go and just see what kind of conversations people are having, where they're getting stuck, what they need help with, what they're looking for support on. It's all out there. You just have to go looking for it and you will find just such a wealth of information that will help you create something that's really, really helpful for people. Okay, so we've got a framework. You have your passion, your skills and expertise, and your ideal customers' problems or desires. That's going to be your digital product idea. Now, I know you haven't gone off and done this research yet about your ideal customer, but based on what you know right now about them, we're going to take 5 minutes. I'm going to put the timer up on the screen if I can figure out how to do that. And I want you to take 5 minutes and write down three problems that your ideal customer is facing right now. And next to each problem, leave lots of space. Next to each problem, I want you to list any solutions you can think of that you could provide that would help them with that. Now, again, when I say problems, also think of what might their desires be, because not everything is a kind of on the surface solving this major problem. If you want to create an art course, or if you want to sell Lightroom presets, or if you want to sell like digital wall art or whatever it is, there are many different avenues that this can go. It all does solve a problem, but it can also look like what is the desire that you're going to be filling for people to, be more creative, take better care of themselves, whatever. So think about that as well if you're kind of stumped with the problems language in this. And yeah, so go ahead and write down the solutions that you could provide. I am going to put 5 minutes on the timer, go to town, and then when the 5 minutes is up, we will carry on. Off you go. Okay. All right. And we're back and everything should be good. My light just turned off, but that's all right. I turned on the lights behind me because it's super dark here. Very cloudy today. So my lighting's not the best, but at least my slides are on screen and that's what you can see the most. So that's good. All right, great. Moving on. I hope that that was super helpful. So quick poll in the comments, let me know. Did you come up with an idea? Did an idea come up for you in this process? Yes, I have an idea. Number one. Two, I've got a few possibilities that you're excited about. Or three, not quite yet, but I'm getting closer. So let me know in the comments below what you're thinking. Um, where you're at with this process. Now let's go. Okay, so that's the end of part one. So now you have an idea brewing. Maybe you're feeling more confident about one, but you're still dealing with this feeling that I think a lot of people feel is digital products are so saturated. This is something that I know holds so many people back, and it's fair. It's fair. It's a fair feeling. But there's a little bit more to the story than just that. So that's what we're going to get into today. Okay, I just want to go back to my poll. So yes, I've got something. I'm seeing a few two, so you've got some possibilities. I see a three, not yet, but you're getting closer. So on track here. Fabulous. All right. So, digital products are so saturated. Let's talk about this. Part two. The market is flooded with generic, mediocre product photos, and that's why it's actually your biggest opportunity. So, let's get into this topic. All right, so here's something that a lot of people feel when they're considering digital products. They want an income stream of digital products for their business, but there are already so many courses, templates, guides, etc. out there. Why would anybody buy mine? Sound familiar? Anybody feel this way? So here's something I want to let you know right off the bat from my own experience. There are hundreds of online courses on product photography. There's tons on Domestika. There's tons on Skillshare. There's tons on Udemy. There's tons of just individuals selling courses on product photography out there. There are thousands of videos for free on YouTube. Literally, you could easily go to YouTube and see tons of videos on how to take product photos for your business. And yet, my product photography course that costs $47 still made $85,000 in sales and counting. It still sells every single day. And the reason why is because it has a unique and specific methodology. It's not just here's a product photography course. It is how to take product photos in 1 hour or less, even if you don't have a lot of space and without needing a ton of equipment. It is really well researched. I really deep dived into what my ideal customers for this product were feeling, what they were butting up against, what they were struggling with, what they wished for, how they wanted their problems to be solved, and so on. And I met every single one of my ideal customers' needs. I kind of checked every single box that I wrote down in my notes. I'm like, okay, how can I address this problem? How can I address this problem? And I put it together with, really thoughtfully and making sure it was genuinely going to make a difference for people. My $47 Instagram Reels course is in one of the most saturated niches out there, Instagram Reels. And it still made 108,000 USD in just 1 year with the $47 product. And that's because it went beyond just surface level tactics. It wasn't just like, here's how to post a reel, here's how to have a nice hook, here's, all that stuff we hear about all the time. It went deep into like how to record really nice reels easily without a ton of equipment with just your phone and how to edit them to make them look nice and what to do when you don't have a ton of time to record reels or if you don't want your face on camera. Again, I went and I asked people, what are your hangups with reels? What gets in your way? And people were like, I don't feel like getting camera ready every day. So we talked about how to batch them so you could, anyway. We solved real problems in this course, and I included a lot of really helpful supporting resources, like a spreadsheet of Reels ideas and a lot of other like PDFs and things like that that gave people actual direction on what they could record, ideas for their various niches, and so on and so forth. So the truth is that, yes, there are a ton of digital products out there, but most of out there is like super just a template, really generic, so surface level, just thrown together. Some people just like cluster together some blog posts and call it a day. or it's made by AI. Don't even get me started on that conversation. Some people will like make something just in using AI as a tool is fine. Getting AI to straight up create something that you're going to sell, less fine. Um, and honestly, just genuinely not super helpful. So you've probably bought some of those yourself. And you've probably felt disappointed, and your audience probably has too. And I have too. So here's a quick example. Now, look, I am not going to throw anybody under the bus. I am supportive of all creators, but I just wanted to share this as a literal evidence so you know that I know how it feels and we can commiserate together on this. But I bought what was supposed to be a course on copywriting for your business. It cost $99. And it even had like a course login area, and I got in there and it said, "Welcome to the course. You'll find the course as a PDF in the download section." And it was literally just a PDF of like before and after copywriting, like what the copywriting was before, like with the client that this person was working with, and then how they changed the copywriting. It was like a PDF just full of those. That was the course. So listen, I mean, we've been there, right? Surface level, thrown together, etc. So there's lots of those out there. So how you stand out is creating something that is not those things. The marketplace might be saturated, but it's also starving. There is so much opportunity in space for high quality, well thought out, and actually useful digital products. There's a proven demand. People are looking for these things, they are buying these things, they're being disappointed by these things. And there's a real need for good offers out there. So here's another example. Again, not going to say anything about who this person is. I just grabbed a quick screenshot from a website showing this is for a photo styling course. This is fine. It's just very generic and surface level. So it includes like different types of photo content, how to create a mood board, selecting colors, selecting props, finding perfect locations. Just very like this is how, very like kind of prescribed whatever. Something that we need to be aware of is if someone can just go and ask like ChatGPT, how do I select colors for my photo? And ChatGPT can just tell them. We want our stuff to go beyond that. That's why we bring in our own stories, our own experience, our own kind of like deeper level things that maybe people didn't wouldn't think of to ask or to consider. And that's how we make things that aren't surface level. So this is all very surface level. It's fine, but it's very surface level. And what I did with my photo styling course, and I want to be clear, like this is not a, oh, look at how good I am at all. This is purely just examples of how you can see the difference of what kind of like generic versus more defined and in depth with the hopes that you can see the difference between what a generic product looks like for your niche and how you might be able to define it a little bit deeper for you. So a little bit more defined and in depth. My photo styling program, it has a specific formula. People have find it a lot easier when there's structure, when there's like do this, and kind of not just your typical, this is how you take a style photo. Because in this one, I include the very important step that's often missed, which is what's your brand all about? And what is your ideal customer attracted to? And how do you infuse those things, the lifestyle that surrounds your brand, into your photos so you're attracting the right people so that you stand out in all of the sea of content out there? The psychology behind photo styling. How does it stand out for them? How does it compel them to buy? How does it move them toward that sale? And how all of the lessons incorporate how this actually translates to sales in their business. So this product has a little bit more depth and impact, like direct impact. Here's how you get more sales with styling your photos in the right way by attracting the right people, blah, blah, blah. And that is how you can create something that's a little bit more defined, in depth, valuable, and so on. So which would you rather buy? Would you rather buy like kind of the surface level one? You don't have to answer. This is kind of more rhetorical, but it's all very surface level, basic. There's not really a clear impact of how this goes or a clear kind of like roadmap through how you start and finish with the photo styling, as opposed to something that's kind of a tested and true formula, something I've personally done myself for many years, something I've helped other people do a lot. The lots of support materials. There's like a quiz to find your photo style based on your branding. There's, like styling board templates. There's maps of how to like arrange flat lays, all kinds of stuff like that. And marketing knowledge. So I obviously have a lot of knowledge when it comes to marketing and sales. So that's incorporated into it. How you can actually stand out, move people psychologically from just encountering you to wanting to buy, and the psychology backed sales impact as well. So this photo styling course of mine, it was a $37 product that made almost $100,000 in sales in just 1 year, just shy of it. And so I got this amazing email from somebody who took the course and said, just within the 3 to 4 lessons that they took, they have a clear understanding of what message they want to convey in their photos. The message is geared toward their target audience. They've purchased courses before, but my course was covering so much more and truly did an outstanding job delivering it. Means the world to me to get these messages. There's nothing like hearing firsthand that you're accomplishing what you set out to do. I mean, obviously, I love to make $99,000, but weirdly, getting these messages means like so like almost more to me in some ways because I love helping people genuinely. And when I get these kinds of things, it lets me know that my efforts were for something. People really are appreciating it, getting something from it, seeing actual results. And a lot of us really want to make an impact, right? Like with our digital products, because there's no limit on how much reach and impact we can have with digital products. It's not like if we provide a one-to-one service or if we have a physical product that we sell and we're limited by how much we can ship or, materials and so on. With digital, there's really no limits on that. So to be able to have a widespread impact is really appealing for a lot of us who want to make some kind of difference or to share our craft or whatever. All right, so what makes your digital product stand out? So all of these things on the stairs. It's going to be your quality and your research and your thoroughness in preparing this digital product, your background and qualifications, your experience and your views on your, niche and your industry, your particular style or your particular mashup. Maybe you have some really cool mashups of things you're passionate about and what you do. Maybe you have a really unique methodology. A lot of my people have specific things that they do or have done in their business, and they create courses around that. That's not necessarily something people talk about a lot, but they have their own things that they have learned and brought into their practice over the years, and they want to share that with others. So they have this kind of unique take on something, your specific process, systems, technique, whatever for doing something. And then that is going to be your winning digital product. Now you may not have like all of these things, but you bring parts of yourself to whatever it is. And you're going to carve out kind of your own area in digital products based on your experiences, your style, your unique methodologies, and so on. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of a what, why, conversation. This is for contemplating. This is something I want you to think about. And then I'm going to have you do kind of a fill in the blanks Mad Lib style statement in your notebook. And these questions are going to help you fill out that statement. Real quick question down here. I just want to answer. So, what about something less tangible, for lack of a better word, like helping women walk in their depression, healing during times of falling off? This slide thing may answer your question, though. It might. That is a really great question. And I think that that's kind of more how would you want to deliver that? So there would be different ways, like something that might be a really good digital product for something like that could be like a guided journal. That could be a really great one. Or maybe some kind of like monthly digital subscription box where you send them, monthly prompts or self-care activities or whatever. Um, you could have a supported course where you have kind of like lessons or videos or meditations or audios that they can listen to, and while you're also providing support and walking them through a process in like a group. There's actually quite a few angles I could see that going in. But let's carry on and see if this helps you dig a little bit deeper, and maybe some ideas will pop for you on that. Okay, so what will your digital product do for people? Why would they want it? Why does that matter to them? Why do they care about that? And what makes you different from somebody else who might provide something similar? What is it that you bring to the table that is your own unique take. All right, so here's what the Mad Libs would look like. So, putting it all together, I am passionate about blank. So, this is actually going all the way back to part one, where we figured out your passion, your skills and expertise, and your ideal customers' needs. We're going to pull that into this as well. So, you're passionate about blank and experience with blank. Your ideal customer is whatever, who needs slash wants to blank. My digital product is this that achieves this and stands apart from what's already available because of blank. Now, I have an example to help because I think this is the kind of thing you really need an example. This is just pulling from my product photography courses background. I am passionate about helping creatives be successful in business and experienced with product photography. My ideal customer for these products is a product seller who needs or wants to sell more and grow their business. My digital product is an online course that teaches them how to take great product photos quicker and easier so they can grow their sales online. It stands apart from what's already available out there because the focus is on simplifying and streamlining the process so they can take great photos in 1 hour or less. So that's an example of what that might look like for my product photography courses. Now, I'm going to do another 5 minute timer. I will leave it on this screen, I think would probably be the best one. So you can fill it out yourself, just jot it out. Now remember, there's going to be a replay on this. So if this is moving a little bit quickly, if you need more time to reflect, if you want to kind of journal out on some of these, like the what, why drills downs and whatnot, then I highly encourage you to come back and do that afterwards if you need more of that. But for now, let's go through that. I'll set the 5 minute timer. Go through and fill this out as best you can now, and then we will come back and carry on. Here we go. All right. We did it. Great. How's everyone feeling after that? Helpful, I hope. I see some great comments, loving the prompt, loving the presentation. Thank you. That means so much. Spent a lot of time putting this together, so I'm really glad that it's helpful. All right, let's carry on. So that's my example. Okay, so now you've got an idea, probably at least one or two, or you're something starting to form. You know the market is hungry for something better than what's out there. You can see how yours has a real shot at being successful when it's positioned properly. But before you go and build it, there's one more thing that you absolutely need to do. Part three is know your digital product will sell before you even start. Have people lining up to buy with this not to be missed step. Seriously, not to be missed. Very, very important. None of us have time to create something that's not going to sell, right? We all are busy folks. So here's the fear. Launch day is approaching. No one's going to buy it or nobody bought it. I have zero dollars in sales. What did I do wrong? What a waste of time. These are all the things that we fear are going to happen once we open the doors. It's just going to be crickets. And that's a lot of the time what holds people back from moving forward. There's a lot of things, a lot of reasons why I would never want this to hold people back. The big one being what we're about to talk about. The other one being something I want you to keep in mind that I didn't include in this workshop. It's just coming to me right now, but something I need to stress is that when when we're talking about digital products, there is always an opportunity to try again. So if you did launch and you didn't hit a goal, you can reflect on what happened. You can go back to the drawing board and talk to your ideal customers. You can tweak that digital product so that it's better, and then you can launch again. You can just keep doing that. You have nothing is lost. It's not like you wasted a ton of money on inventory or materials or anything like that. So there is always an opportunity to kind of reset and go again with digital products. All right. So you don't have to just hope and you don't have to guess whether your product is going to sell. Instead, you'll validate your product with your audience so that you know they're going to buy before you start making it. So, just to drive the point home, there's a cost of skipping this step. If you do skip it, you often will launch to like one or two or no sales. You may have wasted weeks up to this point planning for this and be super frustrated about that. A lot of people end up just trashing their product and walking away. They just assume, okay, it didn't work. Nobody wanted it. I failed. I'm out. Or they just put it up on their website and it just sits there collecting dust and nothing really comes of it. And a lot of people give up when it could have been really great, or when it could have the opportunity still to be really great. Validation doesn't just tell you if it's going to sell, it's going to tell you how to create and sell it. So there's another layer of this. It's not just about is anyone going to buy this? It's also going to help you guide the creation process. What problems to solve, what features to include, how to talk about your product, your digital product, what kind of language to use in your on your sales page or whatever when you're marketing it and so on. So here's how to validate your product. Number one, ask your audience straight up, would you buy this? Now, a thing that I want you to keep in mind is that you can ask people if they'll buy it, and they might say yes, and a lot of times they won't. I posted something on Threads earlier today about how I like to buy ebooks on from self-publishers on Threads, and somebody commented and they said something like, if everyone who promised to buy my ebook actually did, I'd have a lot more money than I really do, or something like that. A lot of well-meaning people will say, yeah, I really want this. This is totally what I want. And then when it comes time to buy, they don't. So that is something that happens a lot. So instead of asking your audience, would you buy this or not, you can ask them that, and that can be helpful information. But what's even more important is, have you thought about buying something like this in the past? If you didn't, what stopped you? If you did buy it, what was missing from it that you wish that it had? What would this solving this problem be worth to you? Things like that. So there's a lot of different ways you can ask people that will help you validate if your product is on the right track or not. You can also do an internet deep dive. So you can go back to what we were talking about before with ideal customers. You can post on, you can like go through the YouTube comments. You can go on Reddit and subreddits. You can go in Facebook groups and you can ask people if they would buy it. But you can also search to see, are people looking for solutions to this problem? Is this a problem that people are actively looking for solutions on? You can also read reviews on other things out there similar to what you're selling. So if you're selling like a collection of digital designs, then you can go on like Creative Market or whatever and find something similar, read reviews to see what people are saying. This is going to help you create something that people are going to really like because you will start checking all of the boxes that other people have missed or making sure that you include things that other people really love to create something that's a really, really high quality digital product. And number three, this is the biggest one of all. People put your money where your mouth is. If you can pre-sell this, instant validation. So this is the big validation of is someone going to buy? Pre-selling it. You can also set up a wait list, which is a very good indicator, but everyone who joins your wait list will not purchase it. There's a certain percentage of them who will. It's probably going to be something like 5 to 10% of people who join your wait list will actually go on to buy. Still helpful and can still definitely gauge interest, but pre-selling is the best way to gauge whether someone's going to buy this before you actually sell it. You can do all of your groundwork, and before you actually start building out the product, you can pre-sell it, or you can build out part of it but not all of it, and then pre-sell it, give people access to the first little bit, and then create it and kind of like drip out the rest of it kind of situation. Guess who did that with their first digital product? That's right, I did. My first digital product back in 2017 was called Snap Sell Succeed. It was a digital product. It was a product photography course for makers. And when I sold it, I launched it. I was open for like 1 week. I had the intro module done. I had a module done on equipment, and I think I might have had the lighting module done. So I had 3 out of 10 or 11 modules complete. It was not finished. It was a big course, and there was no way in hell I was going to build out that big of a course without really knowing if anyone was going to buy it because I had never sold digital products before. This was completely new to me. I had no audience. I had no email list. I started from scratch like a month or two before I actually launched, building my email list, getting people like, in my world. I started from nothing at all. So I was not about to go through all of this process if it just wasn't going to take. So I sold it with just a few of the modules done. I sold 13 spots. I was thrilled. It was a big payday for me at the time. I think I made like something around $5,000 Canadian in 1 week or something like that, which for somebody who hadn't been making much money for a little bit, was awesome. It was really awesome. So that's what I did. This was me validating my very first offer. I wasn't sure if people would buy it. People absolutely would buy it. And because I had such a small audience, this was actually a really, really good conversion rate, which told me finish the course because people are psyched about this and they want more of it. So yeah, that was my great experience with pre-selling. And if you think about it, people pre-sell constantly. That's what Kickstarter is completely about, pre-selling things. So there's so many people who will pre-sell an idea and then go ahead and create it when they know that it is something that people actually want. You can do like special pricing for pre-selling. This product, I ended up the next time I launched it, when the program was complete, I sold it for 347, so I sold it for $100 more. So you can sell it for a little bit less if you want to. But it's just a way to kind of get that and get people in through the door with the money. They're expressly saying, yes, this is something that we want. And then you just go ahead and create it for them. The other bonus to pre-selling, in my situation, especially depending on what it is that you're doing, I was able to build out the rest of this course with the people in the course. We kind of co-created it together. I built it around their needs. So I was getting the very best market research possible to build out something that I knew people really wanted in real time with people who needed it. They got incredible support because I was, responding to all of their needs. If there was kind of a piece that wasn't there that I had missed, then I created it for them and put it in the program. So that's another great way to create a really, really solid digital product when you pre-sell it, because people can kind of help guide the process for you and make sure that you're really nailing it. Okay. So now, once your product is validated, you can start the wait list. You're going to do let's just go back there real quick. You're going to ask your audience specific questions, not just would you buy this, but, what would you pay to solve this problem that you have? How would you, have you ever bought something like this? What did you think? Or if you didn't, why didn't you? And so on. do your internet deep diving to find out what problems people need solving and making sure that that need is there, that there is a need and a desire, and look for other similar products that people are actively buying and look to see what they're missing from those programs or what they really liked about them so you can create a product that's better than what's out there already. And of course, pre-selling and waitlist, other big indicators for validating. Now, you have the idea, you have a good sense of your positioning through how to, through your unique methodology and your own experience and expertise. You're going to create something really solid. You have a sense of how you're going to validate this now. So now let's revisit your launch goal that you wrote down at the very beginning of this workshop. And I bet that looks a lot more achievable to you now than it did at the beginning of this, right? Because now it all kind of makes sense. And you can see how you can create something that's high quality for a person who really wants or needs it, and how you can validate that to make sure that it's going to be a success for you. So you got the plan of how you're going to, create this product and make sure that it's a success. So what comes after this? So solid idea, you with this girl on the left with a pretty flower coming over her head. This is what most paths look like. This is what my path looked like. Squiggly, crazy, chaotic line to get to launch. Unfortunately, a lot of people give up somewhere around the messy middle because they start to question everything. They start to, maybe they go down one road for a while and then they feel like that wasn't the right direction. So they second guess everything and then they scrap it and then they start over. Maybe they just don't make the time. Maybe they don't have the focus. Maybe there's no kind of follow-up or accountability. So they just never get there. I see it happen a lot. And it's a real bummer because there's people out there who really could benefit from these things. And when we don't put them out there, then people are kind of missing that help and support that they could otherwise be getting. Not to mention the creator is leaving money on the table because now you have this idea that's super solid that has the potential to make you that money that you wrote in the notebook. And if you don't follow through, then it's just kind of left sitting there. So don't do that. Don't do that. All right. So here's what it should look like. So no squiggly line, direct path, idea to launch, momentum carried through. You want to have your base in check. So this workshop was the beginning of your base. We touched on the product ideation. There is deeper research that can and should be done through that, but you got a really solid foundation for that. There is things like really deep diving on your ideal customer and knowing what they want, and so on and so forth. The build phase is really threefold. So a lot of people think build phase means you build out your product and then you launch it. Three things get built at the same time. And this is so, so important. While you're building your product out, you're also going to be building your audience alongside of it. You're going to create a really solid targeted lead magnet, get people into your world, through that with your content, build up that audience. You're going to build your authority through your content so that people, have that know, like, and trust factor. They believe that you know what you're doing. They love your approach to whatever it is. They love your style. They love that you're hyping them up. They're hyped. They're ready. And then you launch to actual sales. This is what the through line should look like. It often does not, but this is what it should look like. Now, I would be remiss if I did not tell you all about Digital Product Success Studio. That's where I have helped other creators in the past through this process, through this exact process I just mentioned. It's a complete program to create, launch, and make your first 5K of many with your digital product. That is the goal, and that is what we work towards the whole time. Very comprehensive. So I want to walk you through this roadmap of what it looks like inside DPSS. This is also what it should look like no matter what. But this is how we help you in DPSS. First of all, the base, so you nail down your product concept that your audience is hungry for. We talked a lot about that in this. There is more inside the program, like there are multiple brainstorming exercises to help you really hone in on the right idea. So if you're still kind of like, I think I have an idea, you get real solid on that one. We do comparable product research in depth to see what else is out there and how it compares. You do, and then the validation process, there's a lot more. There's like a whole slew of research questions, anyway, whole slew of interview questions you can ask people and so on and so forth. So base is really solid. Got to have that solid foundation, of course. And then building it, you're simultaneously building your audience authority and hype at that point. Then you launch, you're going to open the doors, run like a 7 to 10 day launch campaign. Some people will either like close the doors to that program, or maybe the digital product's only available for a limited time and then it goes away. That creates a lot of urgency. So you get a lot of sales right off the bat. Or there may be like a limited time price or a limited time bonus for 7 to 10 days to motivate people to kind of buy right away. And then once the launch is over, another really important piece that a lot of people miss is the triple R. So you're going to review what worked, you're going to refine what didn't, and you're going to relaunch. And now 90% of the work is already done because you've already done it once and you kind of just like rinse and repeat. All right. So that's the roadmap. Now, what you will get inside DPSS if you choose to join us, which I hope that you will, there is the digital product success roadmap, what we just talked about, that there's an entire flow that works you through that with like videos, text documents, guides, and audios, and so on. We have the DPSS toolkit, and that includes lots of spreadsheets, done for you email sequences for welcoming people with your lead magnet. We have different, like a pre-launch and launch planner that tells you what to kind of post when and so on. Of course, the DPSS Inner Circle, this is a big one because this is actually where you can get my support personally throughout this whole process. A lot of people lack the accountability. They wish that they had someone checking in on them. They want to have deadlines. They want to have somebody to go to when they get stuck. They have questions, they're uncertain, and to just have someone with the experience to go to and say, "Hey, what do you think about these two ideas?" Or "I'm feeling really uncertain about this." And then we just talk through it and we get you past that so that you keep that momentum moving forward and get to that launch. And I also have a fun slew of bonuses as well. So here's another piece of this puzzle when it comes to selling digital products. We've been talking about your first launch, but you don't just launch once and then you're done. You can do that launch. Often people will do it quarterly, or you can kind of leave it open and sell it all the time. I prefer when getting started for people to launch because it's easier to launch and get sales than it is just to try to figure out how to get something to sell consistently over and over again, like multiple sales ongoing. The kind of launch model tends to work better when starting out. That doesn't mean you have to do it this way, but this is a really solid way to get started with digital products and get sales right away. You can launch quarterly, like 4 times a year, 3 or 4 times a year, with so much of the work already done. Because remember, you build that product once, that's it. You're not recreating the product every single time you launch, it's already done. And all of your launch and pre-launch content is already done as well. You might, tweak it here and there. You might rewrite a post here and there or something like that. But for the most part, it's pretty much done. And so that now we're looking at taking that launch goal that you wrote at the beginning of this workshop and timesing it by 4 for your kind of your first year of income for your digital product. So 3,000 times 4 equals 12,000, of course. But another thing I want you to keep in mind is that that's a bit of a modest goal because you're also going to be growing your audience for this digital product in between your launches. So you're not launching to the same people. Your audience can grow exponentially as you continue to promote your lead magnet in between your launches, or as you continue to share content related to it, and so on and so forth. I want to share what my first year looked like with my first digital product, Snap Sell Succeed. I showed you the pre-sale before of how I sold 13 spots. And so that first launch, that was July 2017, so long ago. And you can see it says USD 2,364. Now, that is just for clarity purposes. This included just the money I made during this time frame. There were payment plans, like about 50% of the people went with a payment plan that pays out over 6 months. So that was not included in this total. So there was actually more than this, about roughly double what the number you see here is. So first launch, little over 2,000. Then I launched again in October, a few months later, and I made about 15,000 in total. This is before the payment plans, but total. And then I launched again in April the next year, so October 17th to April 2018, and made about 30,000. That was fun. That was a good one. That was exciting. And then in November of 2018, I launched and I made about $65,000 on that launch. So this is how we're growing exponentially in between your launches. I wanted you to see what this looks like. Everyone's numbers are going to be different, of course, but I want you to see how your income can grow and compound throughout your first year. It's not just your first launch. So think beyond that first launch. The first one is great. We're going to get some sales, but then you're going to kind of go beyond that and continue to go forward. Another reason why I love the launch model is that in between these launches, you're going to kind of like share content and promote your lead magnet, but you can also just be off doing your other stuff. You can be, working on your art. You can be working with your clients. You can, whatever it is. So, this doesn't need to become your whole business to still see results like this. It can just be something that you do for cash injections every now and then. Or maybe you do want to set it up on kind of what we call evergreen and have it bringing in sales regularly every month. But that's kind of what you can look forward to with your digital product in the first year. Now, I want to talk to you about Meredith because Meredith was in DPSS, and was her experience very similar to mine, actually. She started my program with no audience. She did taxes for long arm quilters. So she was a service-based business. And she didn't really have an email list. She didn't really have a website. She didn't really have any social media presence. It was very, very, very minimal. She didn't really post or email anybody. She mostly just worked with clients, but she really wanted to scale beyond what she could do with her time. She couldn't take on any more clients. She was maxed out, but she still wanted more. She wanted to be able to make more money and she wanted to be able to have more freedom to not be super swamped at tax time, to kind of like reduce how many clients she took on so she could go on vacation and not have to worry about cash and that kind of thing. So she joined DPSS and she opened her course first in January when she had 51 people on her email list and she sold 33 of her program, which was amazing. And she opened it up again the second time. This is when she sent me this email in November to say that she opened her course again and she made 38 sales and her email list was only 125. So she netted $8,000 between her two launches in that just those two launches in that year. And yeah, that was such, I'm not gonna lie, this email almost made me tear up a little bit. This is what I want for people. This is what I want when I'm helping support people through this. And it was just, I was so happy to see this for her. So you really don't need to have a big audience at all, or any audience to get started. You just have to be willing to kind of follow the steps and do the work and, figure out how to get your stuff in front of more people and stuff like that. Anyway, she did a fantastic job and she's still living her life and doing her thing and has her clients and going on the vacations. And then she just kind of launches every now and then and makes some money. It's great. So having a proven roadmap, support, and accountability means the difference between that number staying on paper, the one that you wrote earlier, the one that we're now timesing by 4, or actually being in your bank account. Okay, we don't want it to stay on the paper. We want it to become a reality for you. You do not. So Holistic Vet asks, do we have access to DPSS in a Rebel Collective, which is my membership? No. So Rebel Collective is about anti-strategy marketing for creatives. Separate. DPSS is a totally separate program for digital products specifically. All right. So another thing I want you to know is that creating a digital product doesn't have to take up all of your time. So a lot of people think that they have to dedicate, like set aside 6 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever and fully work on their digital product for that amount of time. It does not have to take you that much time. One of the things I set up in DPSS, because I knew through my market research that I did, like that we just talked about before I created this program, that people want to create a digital product, but often struggle with finding the time. So in DPSS, I included a guide on how to free up time and streamline your productivity so that you can find more pockets of time to work on the digital product. You get kind of like walk through it week by week. So you don't have to just sit down and like crush a ton of work. Every week you will have a handful of tasks to do that's going to get you closer to your goal. Look, if you want to go through and crush all of it at once, you're also welcome to do that. But I have it set up in a structured way so that you don't have to feel like you have to do that. So that like each week you have like kind of bite-sized tasks to do to lead up to your launch, really. I also include done for you things like your done for you email welcome sequence. So you can just pop your information in and get that up and rolling ASAP. Done for you ManyChat automations so that when you are talking about your lead magnet, for example, or your product when you go to launch it on, Instagram or whatever, you can have a ManyChat automation set up so that people can just comment a keyword. It will directly deliver the link to their inbox. That really increased my conversions from Instagram like by a lot. I would say at least 60% when I started using ManyChat automation. So I include that done for you in there. You just have to import it to your own ManyChat. I have a full template system for your sales page, so you don't have to try to like scour the internet for examples and piece it together like I did when I first started. I vividly remember that still, sitting at a Starbucks and trying to figure out how to put together a sales page. That was fun. Now, DPSS also includes a 100% money back guarantee because I genuinely believe and know in my heart and from my experience that if you go through all of the work in DPSS and you do the things that are laid out for you, you're going to get results. If you don't, if you do everything in the program that I have laid out for you and you don't get any results, I will give you all of your money back within a year. So you have a full year. If a year from like just shy of a year from now comes around and you have done the entire program, you've done everything that I laid out for you to do, and you didn't make any sales, money back. Just like that. I really believe in it. And also, I believe people should have results. I believe that when someone invests in a program, you should get results. And I built this so that that's exactly what I expect for you. So if for whatever reason that were to not happen, which has not happened, but if if it were whatever crazy reason it did, there's no risk to you in that. So first year income from your digital product, $12,000, just an example, whatever four times is your launch amount. And you can start DPSS now for just 77 bucks a week. Try to make it as accessible as possible. If you want to go grab DPSS right now, you can go to shop.amytakespictures.com/DPSS and hop right in. Now, there is a quick bonus. So there's a 24-hour bonus. If you join by this time tomorrow, I'm including for everyone who does that a personal launch review and a custom strategy for an even bigger second launch. So once you launch your product, you let me know. We're going to send you a questionnaire so you can just fill out like kind of what you did for your pre-launch, what your metrics were for your launch, and so on and so forth. I'm going to review things. We're going to talk about what worked, what didn't work, and we're going to create a really awesome plan for you to launch again in whatever time frame you want to launch again, even if it's just a few months down the road or whatever, so that you have an even bigger second launch, so you can see that real exponential growth from time to time, which is another layer of security, knowing that like, let's just say for some crazy reason you launch and it wasn't great, then we're going to sit down together and be like, hey, what happened? Why didn't it work? What did we miss? What do we need to input for next time? And stuff like that. So 24 hours from right now, basically. So the other bonuses included are done for you pre-launch and launch content. I mean, like written out emails. This takes so much time. It takes the most time of anything in a launch to write out all the emails, to write out all the social media content. It takes for freaking ever. And a lot of times people will give up. So I have felt this before. I've seen people do it before, and I have felt it myself before, although I haven't actually given up on a launch yet. But what tends to happen is when you first open the doors, you might get a couple of sales. And then a lot of people don't buy until like the last 2 or 3 days, or 1 or 2 days even. So there's a whole in between period where you're not really getting any sales, and a lot of people will think, "Oh my gosh, no one is buying," and they don't have their content done, so they're like, "I don't want to do all this." So they just kind of scrap the launch altogether and move on because it's too much work. When you have it all done beforehand, though, you can just let it ride, trust the process, and then realize that at the end you're going to get a whole influx of sales. It's great. There's awesome also custom digital product mock-ups. I got my designer to make these. These are like fresh, new, fun. And this is a way you can input your digital product into these graphics so that people can see in a tangible way what they're actually going to get. It can be tough with digital products to give somebody, but people will want to see kind of physical evidence of what their virtual digital product is going to be. And it can be tough to do that, obviously. So that's why we use mockups. So I have a whole slew of mockups that you can just kind of like pop your graphics into and use for your sales page, use for your marketing, and so on and so forth. And I'm also including a meta ads training for anybody who wants to use ads to really promote the lead magnet is the best thing to do with meta ads up until your launch. You can spend just like $5 a day and get people constantly coming into your email list through your lead magnet, which is going to be perfectly aligned and lead to your paid product because we're going to do that inside DPSS. I'm going to show you how to do that. And you can kind of just set that up and let it run and have that audience building in the background that whole time leading up to your launch. And then you can also use the same system to promote your product when you're ready to launch it, if you like. And then you'll obviously have that information moving forward too. In between launches, you can kind of keep that $5 a day running and just be building that email list and building that audience the whole time throughout. All right, so just as to summarize everything that's going on and everything you get inside. Included inside DPSS is the digital product success roadmap. It's going to walk you through this whole process. The DPSS toolkit and templates. So there's going to be all of the kind of like your spreadsheets, your research information, your questions, your pre-launch and launch plan, etc. And the DPSS inner circle with personal support. So you can direct message me in there. You can post in the group. I can send you voice notes. We can kind of like review your progress. You can ask for feedback on your lead magnet, so on and so forth. All right. And for the bonuses, if you sign up now, you're going to get that launch review and next launch plan, which really is super valuable. I hope you take that up. Pre-launch and launch content that's already done for you. That's templates. You just fill in your information, fill in the blanks, your custom digital product mockups, and the meta ads training. Now, if you sign up in the next 4 days, you'll get all of those same bonuses, just minus the launch plan. So you won't get the launch review or launch plan if you sign up after like tomorrow afternoon or whatever. But you'll still get the rest for the next 4 days. I love a bonus package, not gonna lie. All right, so you can join that now. So that's Digital Product Success Studio. You'll get lifetime access to the course and materials inside, and the 6 months of my personal support inside the inner circle. All right, so you can get started today for it's 77 today, and then 77 every week for 26 weeks. There's also other payment options on the at the checkout when you go there. So you are welcome to check those out. If you're not a big fan of a payment plan, there's some other options as well. There's also a monthly payment plan if you want just a slightly different one. So link there, shop.amytakespictures.com/DPSS. And I just wanted, this is just reflect on this for a sec. Your launch goal, whatever it was, your launch goal times 4 for your first year, whatever that ends up being. Look at those goals one last time. Those are totally realistic and within your reach. Don't leave that money sitting on the table, okay? Because we just, in this day and age, in this economy, as creatives, as you know, we do not have the luxury of turning our back on potential income. And having digital products is one of the most stable, and it's almost like an insurance for your business because when things go to crap with physical products like tariffs or you can't source materials or material costs go up or whatever, you have this other income stream to get you through tough times. If you're service based and it relies on certain times of year, or if something happens, I don't know, like a pandemic and suddenly you can't meet with people anymore, you still have some money coming into your business. It is so important to diversify. We have learned that more than ever in the last 5 or 6 years. So yeah, I hope that you will consider grabbing DPSS, joining me inside. It brings me so much joy to help people get to a point where they're kind of seeing that success like Meredith had, like Lisa had, and so on. All right, so go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and open up for questions. So if anybody has any questions about digital product ideas or about DPSS, happy to answer those. Yeah, so I think there's a couple questions here. I will go ahead and answer them well. And if any other questions come up, feel free to pop them below. All right. So is that for a certain amount of time or just until we cancel? Yes. So it is a set period of time. This is it's not a membership. This is a program. So it's just a way of splitting out the cost over time so that it's not as much of a one-time investment. I think the investment for this program is incredibly accessible considering the payoff and considering how it introduces a whole stream of income for your business that, grows exponentially over time and gets you started on that path, even with some very tangible, like, rate. I mean, a lot of people who go through the process and launch make the feedback off their first launch, maybe even more, and then their next launch they're just like making money. So lots and lots of opportunities. So this is just a way to make it, I mean, I know not everyone just immediately has that kind of money sitting around, so being able to spread it out just makes it a little bit easier for people. All right. If there are any other questions, I don't see any in the chat yet. There is about a 20-second delay on the feed, so if anything comes up, I will happily answer those questions about DBSS or just digital products in general. I love to nerd out over digital products and talk about those with people, so feel free to ask questions if you like. But if I don't see any questions come in about 30 seconds or so, I will probably feel like we can sign off for now. Questions. What if you just have a blog and want to create a digital product? That's a fantastic way to start your digital product. Um, that is, especially if you have blog readers, like if you have an audience of people who visit your blog, you can absolutely launch a digital product using your blog as kind of lead in. Having any kind of content is going to help you sell your digital product. It does not have to be Instagram, does not have to be TikTok or whatever. Wherever it is that you're sharing your content and you're getting in front of your ideal customer, you can absolutely have a digital product that will help further support them through that. So yes, if you have a blog, that's a great launch pad for a digital product. All right, what other costs are generally associated with launching digital products? I'm thinking like tech subscriptions and stuff. So yeah, it depends on what it is that you're launching, of course. But like, so if you're okay, let's say you're launching a course, like an online course, then you'll need somewhere to host your online course. I recommend Learn Worlds for people who have apprehensions about technology. And if you are really good with technology, WordPress and LearnDash. WordPress and LearnDash is really affordable, but it is kind of, it's not super user friendly. Thankfully, my husband handles a lot of it for me. That's what I use. But a lot of these programs like LearnDash or Teachable, they have really affordable starting points for people just getting started. I started with Teachable and then I kind of skipped around a few places, but like kind of just rate from the bottom, like it kind of scales with you a lot of times. So if you're starting and you just have a handful of people, then sometimes it's kind of like gauges by how many people are in your program, or there's certain features that you may want that you can pay more for if you want to white label it. I'm a huge fan of starting with as like the minimum possible. You really, as long as it works, it doesn't have to be super fancy. So there is some money that you will have to invest in something like that. Like if you want to sell um, something like a digital asset of some kind, like I sell presets, Lightroom presets through, and I have a Shopify website. So I pay for Shopify, and that's, I don't know how much I actually don't know how much I pay for that, but I don't know, like $50 a month, maybe something like that. So usually, yeah, you have to have some kind of way to sell your products and deliver them to people. There's also options where you don't have to pay for things like Creative Market, Gumroad, Etsy, that kind of thing, depending on what it is. Like if you're just selling digital products that are downloadables, there's always those options that you could go with as well if you wanted to start with something that's just really easy to get started with and not have to pay anything while you're growing. So there are options. Um, yeah. So could be some upfront investments, but doesn't have to be a ton. When I started out, I really, really didn't have a whole lot of money. I had stepped back from photography because I was pregnant and tired and not feeling very well. So I really didn't have much cash. I remember I paid for Teachable, which I think was $79 a month, and I paid for Canva, which was like 12 or $13 a month, I think. And I also had an email service that I paid for, but I didn't pay much. It was really low cost at the time because I didn't really have an email list, and those grow with you as well. So a bit, but then it's honestly so worth it because then as your business grows, you can start investing in more things if you want to. But there's a lot of ways to get started without having to invest a ton of money. And I mean, when you start making the money, you're like, wow, this is really worth the money that I'm putting in. All right. Great question. If I am from a non-English speaking country, how would you help out? Well, I think that, I mean, we could probably the a lot of the chat that we do in the support is through chat. So there's lots of translation services, of course, that we could use if that was something that would be helpful for you. Um, and of course, I mean, I've worked with plenty of people from all over the world, and we just kind of always make it work. So that's certainly something that I would be happy to figure out and work around. Absolutely. Do we need ManyChat? No, you don't need ManyChat if you don't want to, if it's not a thing for you. I think ManyChat's really good if you use Instagram specifically. If you're not using Instagram as your kind of like main platform for promoting your stuff, less important. So, like I've kind of shifted my strategy to YouTube and podcasting, and I can actually just put my links right in the description. They will not let you do that on Instagram, of course. We know that. There's no links other than link in bio, which no one ever clicks on. So that's why ManyChat is really good. So ManyChat's great if you're using Instagram, but definitely not a requirement for selling your digital product or for being in DPSS. It is a good tool if you're on Instagram, though. Highly recommend. But if not, then you don't need it. Yeah, and there's a lot of other options out there that isn't just Instagram either, which I'm happy to be exploring more of both myself and also in supporting other people because there's a lot of other options out there, and a lot of us are tired of slogging away at Instagram, right? Great. I don't see any more questions coming in. Those were great questions, by the way. But if any questions come up, especially over the next 24 hours or the next 4 days as you're trying to decide if DPSS is right for you, then you can email us at hello@amytakespictures.com. Either I will respond or Megan will respond. Megan, who has been in the comments here today, she is my wonderful assistant slash business manager, and she knows all about all the things. Very knowledgeable with all of my programs. This will help us come up with a digital product. Yes. So we really deep dive into digital product ideation inside DPSS. So as much as we've talked about here, it's like really going deeper than what we even talked about today. And there's things like a spreadsheet called the Digital Product Idea Refinery that you can actually input your digital product ideas. There's drop downs where you give it a score based on these different questions, and it will like color code it to tell you which is the strongest idea. There are there are comparable product research spreadsheets with questions, and you can go kind of to different places and fill in all this information so you have it all available. Lots of more deep dive into making sure that that digital product is absolutely the right one before you carry on. Yeah. So, oh, okay. Sorry, Anna. I think I don't mind talking in English or anything. Your program will be in Serbian. Oh, the K. My video editor is from Serbia. Fun fact. So yeah, you definitely that will not be a problem. Yeah. No, not a problem. And I've had other people who I've worked with who have had programs in other languages as well, and it's not a problem at all. If there is, so we can, yeah, obviously chat back and forth, no problem. If you want me to like review your sales page and it's in a different language, then I can just use Google Translate or something like that. So, absolutely can help you with that, no matter, yeah, regardless of what language it is in. Not a problem. And yeah, like seeing the quality of your product and things like that. Um, Yeah, I mean, like I can definitely help you with things like the outline. I don't usually end up going through everyone's like specific content anyway, because you're the expert on your content to know whether you're nailing it or not. But I will be there to help you walk through kind of like the outline. And again, if I have like a Google document that shows your outline, I can get a translate if I need to. I can also help you defer back to your research that you did when you talk to your ideal customers. Like, does it check all of these boxes? And if you are concerned about something specific, like, I wonder if I need to include this bit or not, then you can just tell me in English and I'll, figure it out. I don't foresee that being an issue. Yeah, but I think it's a great question to ask. I definitely think that those are all things that we could easily overcome through different ways. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Oh my goodness. I woke up kind of under the weather today and I wasn't sure I was going to have the energy to do this. So I'm like drinking the water to try to stay hydrated and keep talking through it all. But I think that just about brings us to the end. If you do have any follow-up questions that we missed, or if we sign this off and you had one lingering one that we missed or whatever, yeah, you can just shoot us an email at hello@aimingtakespictures.com and we will be more than happy to get back to you about that. And otherwise, I hope to see you inside the DPSS group very soon so we can get started diving into some cool digital product stuff and make this digital income revenue stream a reality for you. I'm super excited. Yeah, very, very excited. I want to have a goal for how many people I want to launch income streams with this year. Um, 20 at least. Yeah, at minimum, no, more than that. 50. Anyway, I hope to see you there. If you guys have any follow-up questions, feel free to shoot us that email and we will be happy to help you out and help you, yeah, with whatever it is that you need. All right, everybody, have a wonderful rest of the day wherever you're hailing from. And I appreciate you being here. It was a lot of fun. So thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.